So, with modern day technology and modern day social platforms, TikTok likes to keep us busy. We like to see a lot of like funny trends, videos, what have you, and some of us get lost in conspiracy side of TikTok, government this, government that, the works. So, one of the things that you might have, some of y'all might have come across is one of those conspiracies of like, hey, Stranger Things might be related to something that happened in real life, you know? And one of the things that happened in real life that a lot of people may sound more like fiction than nonfiction was a mind control program back in the 50s called MK Ultra that was led by the CIA. It was a lot of dark secrecy that went on, a lot of hush hush negotiations, and not so much negotiations, but experimentation on human beings that went on. Classic, iconic CIA style suicides by the man Frank Olson, where his death mysteriously ruled a suicide, commenced this thing called the Rockefeller Commission to pretty much investigate further because he knew a lot about the project and people were just skeptical, like, why would a man just run and jump out of a building? So a lot of things that we take for granted, like thinking about like where does all this fascination for mind control comes from? Well, you might be surprised. It was MK Ultra for sure. So we're gonna be discussing about the practices, outcomes, and pretty much how it how this program influenced not just like our daily lives, but also a bit of like pop culture.
MK Ultra started in the 50s and it was a program to try to create some truth drug to use during the Cold War. Now, the way they would try to achieve this were by using LSD, hypnosis, electroshock therapy, sleep deprivation, and sensory deprivation. And the targeted subjects they would use were mental hospital patients, prisoners of war, military members, drug addicts, and government employees. Now, stating government employees, a man in particular named Frank Olson, who was a biological warfare scientist, he was drugged by a colleague, and she was the head of the CIA's MK Ultra program. So they all go to a retreat, having a good time. She, without Frank being aware of, doses him with LSD, large doses. 9 days later, he jumps out of a window. Now, that was ruled a suicide, even though his family still to this day suspects it was a murder.
The investigations leading into MK Ultra, this allowed for the government to place new laws focusing on human experimentation. MK Ultra was a clear violation of human rights and also was brought into light thanks to the Church Committee. During this time, Richard Helm, who was director of the CIA at the time, was also forced to resign. And due after this, the Human Research Subjects Protections Act of 1974, also known as the Belmont Port, was established. MK Ultra is a huge factor in keeping our government accountable. Because there was no accountability, the secrecy of MK Ultra was able to continue as long as it did, which was approximately 20 years. The CIA was able to destroy a bunch of records, which we do not have the full extent of. But later on, about 20 plus years after MK Ultra ended, 20,000 documents were recovered by the CIA. Till this day, we still have no idea of the true overwhelming power of MK Ultra and what it did to its civilians and its test subjects.
So for main point 3, MK Ultra influences pop culture and enduring legacy. MK Ultra has been featured or referenced in various forms of entertainment. The Manchurian Candidate draws inspiration from MK Ultra. The video game Call of Duty Black Ops also draws inspiration from MK Ultra. These both delve into the concept of mind control and assassins triggered by specific cues. In Black Ops, the mind control is carried out by the opposition instead of the CIA, but is the same concept and MK Ultra inspired. Netflix series Stranger Things and anime Elfen Lied features secret government experimenting involving mind control and psychic abilities. The anime Akira shares thematic similarities with MK Ultra in certain points as well, but is not directly inspired. In Stranger Things, Eleven is being forced to tap into her psychic abilities against her will. They show her going through all sorts of experiments, one being where she's put under and laying in some sort of hydrotherapy chamber. This pretty much goes for Elfen Lied too, because it is what Stranger Things was based off of, I'm sure. MK Ultra has been inspiration to artists and musicians. Drug-induced experiences altered state of consciousness and the portrayal for expanding one's mind are all factors that make a compelling theme for art. MK Ultra produced a mass hysteria on the type of mind control artists influenced by the project took to writing lyrics which have heavy mind control undertones. Uprising by Muse, the track themes is related to the resistance against government control and mind manipulation. Brain Damage by Pink Floyd references themes of mental manipulation, fractured identity, and the darker side of human experience.
Culture manipulated people's minds through various mind controlling techniques, from using drugs such as LSD to electroshocking therapy. The LSD would cause people to go on mind-blowing trips and divulge personal information. As to the electroshock therapy, it would basically erase parts of one's memory. Sensory deprivation was also used as means to control and erase minds and memories. MK Ultra started in the 1950s, well on into the 1960s. They would also test these theories and methods on prostitutes. After copious amounts of unwillingly patient-involved tests, the CIA concluded that mind control was not possible.